palm reading of a lady. We are reading her hand, and I will try to mark few important things on her palm. First, we are going to take the look at the left hand. Normally, it is said that we should give more importance to the left hand for females and lesser importance to the right hand. But in my case, what I do is I basically try to look at both the hands to arrive at the conclusion. And these days, when women are working, so uh, that's the reason why I would say that right hand becomes much more important. But the other aspect regarding this particular aspect is that our both hands may show lots of similarity. So it doesn't matter if we are reading the left hand or the right hand. If both hands are similar, the outcome is likely to be the same. So the first thing is this. The other thing is we have to look first at the hand structure. By hand structure, basically what we mean is the bone structure in the fingers and the palm. Okay, so if they are reasonably strong, it means a good hold over people, money, and resources. If imagine a situation that the hand is a very, very feeble kind of a hand. So feebleness of the hand basically signifies that feebleness in thoughts and feebleness in actions and feebleness in all aspects of your life. So that's the reason why the structure of the hand is important. So I would say that this is a reasonably strong structured hand. So the outcome is going to be reasonably good, strong hold over people, money, and resources. So stronger the hand, more the hold. Okay, so this is what basically it is. Now we will take a look at each and every line, and I will try to describe you whatever I see on the palm. Now the first line that we are going to take up is basically the lifeline. Lifeline is this particular line that is encircling kind of this is the thumb, so it is encircling two planets. This is the area for Mars, negative area. This is just a name, and this is the area for Venus. Okay, so Venus in geography, you must have heard what is Venus. Venus is a warm planet, and warm planet means that if the area is prominent, it would mean that that person is likely to be extremely warm by nature. So this is what basically it indicates. So when we take a look at the whole hand as such, we find that the area appears to be not super padded, but okay kind of padding. So this is considered to be good because if imagine this area was flat, so a flat area would have meant that the person would be lacking in energy and stamina and vitality and the desires. So Venus basically depicts all these things that I have just mentioned. So a reasonable amount of padding basically means a reasonably okay kind of energy levels and the stamina and the vitality and the desires. So I don't think that it should be super padded. This area, even if it is normally padded, that is kind of okay. It should not be flat because if this area is flat, the chances are the person is would be lacking in the energy part. The person would be lacking in energy, and if the person is lacking in energy and desires, so the person wouldn't be able to prosper in their life because the desires are of limited degree. So that's the reason why the amount of Venus is a very important area to refer to. And this area that we are referring to, this is the area of Mars negative. Mars is a red planet. Red means anger, aggression, and fire. So it's always better to have less lines over any particular amount or any portion of your hand. If there are more lines over more crisscrossing kind of lines over any particular area, and they are very strong as well, deep and strong as well, it would signify that that particular mount as such is likely to malfunction in a wrong way. So because this area is the area for anger, aggression, and fire, so the chances are that the person, because there are more lines over the area of Mars negative, the person would get angry over wrong issues. We would also take a look at the left hand as well. To some extent, we find again many lines out here that are kind of crossing over horizontal kind of lines. These are basically kind of negative kind of lines, and a parallel kind of a line running parallel to the, this is the lifeline. If there was a parallel line, that would have been a better sign to have instead of having horizontal kind of lines. So those give basically negative effects, and the person is likely to get angry over wrong issues. So the thing is that there are more lines, so it gives a little bit of a negative aspect. The second aspect, what we also find on the lifeline is that this is the earlier portion of your lifeline, and this is the ending of basically the lifeline. So this portion, it starts something like this and ends out here. Now you find that there are a few branches like thing that are leaning outward from the lifeline, pointing towards the area of Mount of Moon. Okay, these few of them are long, few of them are short branches, but all of these are a little bit kind of a negative sign to have. What it basically signifies is something like, I'm just going to correlate it to something else. Imagine this says lifeline is nothing but a river of energy. If there's a branch that is leaning outward, it would mean basically energy, energy and stamina and vitality, like they are branching out, like they are going away from life. And because they point towards the Mount of Moon, the moon is a very changeable planet. It is also the planet for travel. It is the planet for restlessness and madness. Many things basically come. Moon, basically, the effect of moon can be seen on the earth in the ocean. So ocean connects the continents, and continents basically has to do something related to travel. So lifeline kind of pointing something like this would mean that there would be some restlessness that may creep into this particular person's life. But this is at a little bit of a later age of life. We would also look at the right hand also. Do we see those kind of lines? And you find that this is the lifeline. This is the lifeline. And somewhere out here, you would see branches leaning outward to pointing towards the Mount of Moon. Now, Mount of Moon, as I've also I've already told you, Moon basically relates to travel, and this is the area for water and ocean and all these kind of things. So what happens is that the trouble, the health related issues that may affect this particular person may relate to water. It could be anything below the lungs area. That area can get affected. So that needs to be, the person needs to be more careful on those particular aspects of life or regarding health related issues. Now we also find that I'm just removing these lines so that we can see things much more clearly. You notice that this is the headline. Now, headline is not the line of intelligence. Headline is only the line of your thought process. So if you have, and it is the line of mental stability and instability. So if you have a line kind of branching, originating on the Mount of Jupiter and joining the line of head, it would mean that the person's mind, this is the line of head, means your line of mind. Your mind is originating from, or mind is seeking the qualities of the Jupiter. Now, what this basically means is that Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet means growth, expansion, honor, respect in your life. So if the line joins the line of head, the Jupiter line joins the line of head, it would basically signify that the person is always seeking honor in their life, respect in their life. So this is a very positive aspect, because this particular line joins the line of head somewhere at the very early stages of the life, like before the age of 18, 19. So any line that we see in the early phases has its effect even in the later portion of your life. It's not that it's not going to happen in the later portion. So this is a very, very good line, I would say, to have. Now, the other aspect is that this line is being cut by other lines, these horizontal kind of lines out here. So in a way, these lines are not the best kind of lines, and it is kind of hampering or blocking the main positive line out here. And the effect could have been much better if it would have been an independent kind of a line, this Jupiter line. Apart from this, you would also notice that there are few lines kind of originating from inside the lifeline and joining the headline. This is what I'm talking about, these particular lines that I'm referring to. Now, this is the lifeline, and this is basically the main headline. So imagine a situation, and this is the area of Mars negative, and Mars negative is the area for anger, aggression, and fire. So if a branch from the mount of Mars negative originates out here and joins the line of head, it means anger entering our mind. And when anger enters our mind, the chances of taking right decisions decrease because we are angry in our mind. So the possibility of taking right decisions decreases. So I would say that try to control your anger. If the anger is not controlled, then basically a few negative aspects can be expected. Now, the other aspect is that we look at the money line. Now, this is basically the line of money. And it is branching out somewhere at this particular point, and this particular point is approximately age, let's say, if this intersection was age 35 of the money and the headline, so this point is approximately 30 to 33, I would say. It's somewhere at that particular. So anything forming like a V, pointing towards the fingers, is always considered to be good. The reason why I say it is good is because imagine a situation that energies penetrate the fingers, energy or light penetrate the fingers, and each finger basically depicts something or the other. Like Saturn finger is the finger for money, possession, wealth, wisdom, responsibility. And this is the finger for administration, religion, politics, and honor. This is the Jupiter finger, and this is the Saturn finger. So what happens is when energies penetrate the palm, they enter your life. And these kind of go and get accumulated out here, wherever there's a V or a Y. So wherever there's a V or Y, that area basically becomes significant. So that age I've already mentioned is age approximately 30 to 33, when better prospects can be expected. Now, one more thing I need to add on the money line. Now, the money line, you would notice that this is the main line of money, and you would notice many branches that are kind of joining into the main money line. So all of these lines that join into the main money line are considered to be good. The reason why it is considered to be good is because Moon is the area for public appreciation. Moon is the area for trading activity and service industry. Moon is also the area of opposite sex. Basically, when a line joins from the mount of Moon and joins the main money line, it would mean help coming to this particular from the opposite sex. Now, because she's a female, so the benefits can come to her from male members. Now, we can't say how it comes, but those benefits are likely to come to this particular from male members. And in foreigners, it could be male as well as female, both. It could be it could be father, it could be brother, it could be male friends or unknown people that are likely to bring benefit and gains into this particular person's life. Now, it can be, these lines can be interpreted in a different way. Consider money line to be nothing but a river of money. So any line joining into the main line means more, another tributary joining into the main line means more flow coming into the river. So that's the reason why these lines are considered to be good lines. So this is a very, very good indication to have. But because you would notice that there's a jumbled up of too many lines out here, too much of crisscrossing lines. So that's the reason why To some extent, I would say that this is a bad sign, and unnecessary kind of lines are there. And these lines, and it's kind of a grill like a formation is there, too much of lines out here. So that may bring a little bit of negative aspect. Now we look at another very, very important line, and that is basically, I would come back to the money line again, but I'm just going to the important aspect, and that is the line of heart. This is the line of heart. Now the heart line, you notice that there are many branches that are leaning downwards. These are leaning downwards towards the headline. Now, what basically it signifies is that consider something that the finger consider something the fingertips is the head and the sky, and base of the palm is the lower portion of the body and the earth and the gravity. So if a branch, if this is the heart, if a branch is hanging downwards from the heart line, it is basically some relation, some affection, somebody or the other that is kind of pulling your heart downwards. So it basically means some emotional disappointment that is likely to be there in her life. So this is in a way negative. What basically it signifies is that such a person is likely to get distracted, likely to fall for temptations, and is not able to focus themselves completely. They are not able to dedicate themselves completely to one and only one thing. So it would be constant distractions that are likely to be there, that is always going to come about in her life. So I would advise that, and this would also create lots of stress and anxiety. So this is in a way negative, because as we are growing older, I don't know her age, but as we are growing older, stress and anxiety do play a part. Maybe when a person is probably, let's say, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, the person can handle the stress. But as they grow older, that's when things basically can go wrong. And in a way, it is considered to be a negative sign. Now, these branches basically mean that the person is not able to practice detachment. If detachment, people misunderstand the meaning of detachment. People misunderstand this, think that detachment means leaving all the material things and going to Himalayas, and leaving all the worldly things, all your relationship, and going far away from them. No, it is not that. The detachment, the real meaning of detachment is being in a moment without having expectation of the outcome. So I would advise this person to try to know first the meaning of detachment and then kind of practice it. If you are able to do that, the possibility of life and happiness coming to this particular person is going to be more. So so consider something in a different way. This is the hard time, and branches hanging downward means attachments. What basically attachments bring in, that they attachment brings in expectations. Expectations are not fulfilled. That's the reason why disappointment may creep in. And once disappointment creeps in, then there would be anger, there would be aggression, and at the same time, the person would not be able to concentrate on their work. So the work performance is likely to go down. So I hope you understood what I'm trying to convey out here. The other aspect is that on the heartline itself, also you would notice that there are few branches that appear to be leaning upward. One or two branches that are leaning upward. Now, see, upward movement of the branches towards the finger basically means upliftment. Upliftment of what? The heart. So heart gets uplifted when there's something good happening in one's life, and something good, or somebody is helping us or something like that. The downward is the opposite. So the hard line starts somewhere at this particular point and ends somewhere out here. So these upward lines can be seen in the earlier portion, and then basically there are few these downward branches over the heart line. Now you will also notice that there are more lines in the center, this center of the area. So this area is the plains of Mars. Plains of Mars is the area for temper. So if there are more lines out here, the chances are that the person's temper may be uncontrolled. And so I would advise that the person needs to control their temper. On the area of Mount of Mercury, you would notice one line perpendicular to 3, and 4. See, this area appears to be good. The reason being that these lines are clearly marked on the left hand. And when they're clearly marked and they are not intermingling with each other, something like that, they are not intermingling, that is considered to be good. What it basically signifies is basically that if you have got 3 or 4 lines, that what the book says basically the person could be a good doctor. Others basically say that the person could be a good healer. But I normally say that if you have got multiple lines over the area of Mount of Mercury, you would have multiple set of skill. And skills is something that brings you success. Without skills, you can't be successful. So that's the reason why it is a very, very important. These lines are very, very, very important. I'm just going to darken the image a little bit so that we can see things much more clearly. So these perpendicular lines that you see on the Mount of Mercury, these are also the lines of calculations and communication and networking skills. It can be human to human networking, it can be computer networking, or it can be anything else as well. So, this area is basically the area for mathematics, engineering, business, science, mathematics, every possible thing, law and physics and chemistry, everything. So good amount of mercury, the probability of success basically increases. Now, one more aspect that we see a little bit different out here is that this is a sun line, and it is kind of leaning something like this. So the origination is on the area of Mars positive. This area is the area for coolness, calmness, and tenacity. So a sunline that originates on the mount of Mars positive and points towards the area of sun, the area of sun finger. The person would be known for these particular qualities: coolness, calmness, and tenacities. The other aspect that we see on this particular hand is that this this is the money line, this is the headline. So this intersection is age 35. So this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. This is after the age of 35. You would notice after the age of 35, there are few branches that are there on the headline. Now, when there are branches on the headline, it basically signifies that the person is likely to be a genius. But genius doesn't mean that they know everything, but it just means that compared to the other people, their competitors, they would be able to see two sides of the coin at the same time. So this is what it basically means. It also means these particular that lines that I was referring to, too many crisscrossing lines. So this could be the line of these lines are lines called any line pointing towards the area for Mercury are called the Mercury lines or the health line or something like this, or the liver line. So too many lines out here could disturb the liver as well. So liver functioning, probably indigestion kind of things can crop up in her life. So this is what I can say by looking at the left hand. Now we go back to the right hand. See, there are lots of similarity. These upward branches, I won't repeat. These are good signs pointing towards the fingers. That means some emotion or some relationship uplifting you. These downward lines that you see out here, these are kind of negative. Many branches. So lots of distractions. So the person may do good in their work, but suddenly they get distracted and they basically fall for temptations and they lose their focus. And so I would advise that try to commit yourself only to one thing. The people who get distracted may not be able to achieve as much as people who are very focused. So these people could be very interesting people. So these branches could mean flirtatious. See, flirtatious, don't think that flirtatious has just one single meaning. Flirtatious could have multiple meanings. Like flirting with your job, flirting with some spicy kind of thing. Basically, this basically means if the line was something like very simple without any branch, that would mean that the person is not able to see anywhere around themselves, but their focus is very much intact. So this is what a simple line would have meant. And I would say that a simple line is much better than a kind of a complicated kind of a heart line. Now, same kind of lines that we see out here, backward kind of lines pointing towards the area for Mars. So these are, I've already mentioned, these are kind of anger and aggression entering the mind from the area for Mars and entering the headline. There's also, in this particular line, there appears to be two money lines. This is one money line, and there's another money line kind of starting out here and reaching the heart line. And from the heart line, there are a few more lines basically that kind of develop. So if there are multiple money lines, it could mean multiple sources of income. But I normally say that it's always better to have a one line instead of having too many lines out here. Too many lines basically kind of like if there are two lines, I would just say that it's kind of an extra pillar of strength. Imagine you have got a house and you this is your house and you put another beam or extra pillar or those kind of things, so it is going to strengthen your house. So same goes out here. So if you have got double money line, it would basically strengthen your finances to a large extent. So this is what basically it basically means. And what I also want to add out here in the right hand is that the mercury mount, the small under the small finger, what we had noticed out here was that there were plain simple perpendicular lines out here, plain simple. Now maybe the quality of image is not so good, that's the reason why I'm not able to see it very clearly, but in this hand image what we find is that there are kind of a little bit crossing over of lines, these kind of lines. So horizontal lines are basically negative, and it kind of blocks the energy. And sometimes because this is the area for your calculations and communication, so the chances are sometimes a person miscalculates and miscommunicates. Although there appears to be a square like formation out here, square basically means preservation. It means preservation from the losses that the person may experience. Yes, there is a strong perpendicular line, so this is a very good line for communication and calculations. In that way, it is good. But these horizontal lines, and I would say, even although this appears to be a square-like formation, so it does preserve, but I normally say that it's better not to have it, not to have any line over the amount of mercury. Then probably it is considered to be better than having more lines over it. So the only negative aspect that may play out is some miscalculation and miscommunication that can develop, and there's a good aspect regarding the heart line. The heart line is purely ending under the finger of Saturn. This is the finger of Saturn. Now, there may be a few branches, something like this. These are negative. These branches basically means falling for temptation and all these kind of things, and some misplaced affection. So upward movement is good and downward movement is bad. But the main line is pointing towards the fingers. So in that way, it is considered to be good. The second aspect why I consider it to be good is because when the heart line ends under the Mount of Saturn, it means such a person respects money, values money, and such a person basically are able to multiply their money, and the desire to make money, huge amount of money is there within them. So this is what basically it means. You can also notice that there's a curvature out here on the heart line. Curvature on the heart line basically means that the person is likely to be extremely passionate. They display their emotions. They can't keep their emotions in check. And in that way, I would say that these people are sensitive people. I would say these are very realistic kind of people, because Saturn is all about being more realistic and grounded. So hardline ending on the amount of Saturn, people who are in business or people who are in service, who are able to do good in their life, are able to multiply their money, are the ones who have their hardline end under the mount of Saturn. So this is what it is in her hand as well. If the line was very long, I would say very sensitive. very idealistic. And uh, see, when a person is very idealistic, the chances of getting hurt basically increases. So it's always better to have a shorter heart line out here than having a long hard line reaching the mount of Jupiter. So Jupiter is more for idealism and sensitivity and purity. Saturn is all about money, possessions, wealth, outer appearances, being more realistic and grounded. So in that way, it is. This is what I can say. See, having too many lines, basically, anywhere we find too many lines, it would mean it would kind of disturb that particular area to some extent, and it would kind of bring out the negative qualities. Like it is something like overworking of any of your muscles. So if you overwork your muscles, the likelihood is that that muscle is going to get too much tired, and you wouldn't be, supposing you go to the gym and do huge weights on the first day itself, so your muscles are going to tear up, and because they tear up, you won't be able to go to the gym on a for the next few days. So it's always better to have less lines. Less lines gives better result than more lines. In this hand, it appears that the area of Mount of Venus is hugely padded. So this is the area for sensuality, sexuality. This is the area for beauty and grace. So when it's well padded, it means more of these things in your life. Your desire for all the material things. Venus is all for material things in your life. So the desire for material things is great. And that's the reason why you're going to pursue them. And because you pursue them, you are likely to get all those things in your life. So I would kind of end the video out here. The rest portion we will talk and discuss in the session. So thanks for watching this video. This video has been probably 32 minutes. So I am ending this video. Bye and take care.